There has been disaster in the world of wrestling. Antione Long, the beloved son of WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long, died all of a sudden, and everyone in the wrestling world is shocked. Fans can't say anything about Teddy's emotional breakdown, which was caught on video. You will never forget what he said in his tribute. Even more sad is what we've learned about Antione's last moments. Join us. They didn't want this story to be told. The wrestling world has seen a lot of pain, both in and out of the ring. This time, though, the sadness is very close to home in the worst way possible. WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long, who was the show's famous general manager and face for a long time, is now going through every parent's worst fear. The sudden death of his beloved son Antione Long in a tragedy that happened in silence but has since shocked wrestling fans all over the world. We are going to talk in depth about the shocking events that led to Antione Long's premature death in this video. So, people are paying respect to Teddy Long on social media, and video of him crying is going around. People are also quoting the touching words he said all over the internet. It's not all, though. We'll also show you exclusive behind-the-scenes comments from other WWE stars, like Booker T and Mark Henry, as well as a statement from Vince McMahon's team. In addition, there is something about Antione's life that not many people knew. This makes the tragedy even worse. As the story goes on, it only gets more intense, so don't click away. And believe me, what Teddy said at the private funeral for his son changed the way people would always see him. While Teddy Long, his father, became famous in the world of professional wrestling by running arenas, managing WWE stars, and giving memorable promos, Antione Long picked a different road and lived a quieter, more private life. Still, people who knew him say that he had just as big of an effect. Antione wasn't good at wrestling. He was never hungry for attention, camera flashes, or the roar of a WWE crowd. Instead, he centered his life on helping others, spending time with his family, and having a modest job in business and mentoring young people. People in his Georgian hometown knew him as a kind person who helped out with church youth projects, set up training camps for boys who were at risk, and often gave money to local causes without giving their name. His friends said that he didn't say much but had strong beliefs. Like his father, he was loyal, quiet, and strong, and he was proud to be the son of a wrestling star. But he never relied on his father's fame. There were so few people who knew who his father was that Antione wanted that to be the case. A close friend said he didn't want any recognition. Even though no one ever thanked him, he just wanted to make a difference. Besides that, Antione was a father, which was the most important thing to him. He was more than just dad to his kids. He was a teacher, a guide, a guardian, and a giver. People who knew the Long family say that he often used Teddy Roosevelt's famous saying, "Now hold on, player," when his kids caused trouble. This made them laugh and reminded them of their wrestling roots. But those who knew him best knew that he had been quietly suffering for years, even though he smiled and helped others. Reports say that Antione had been dealing with a number of health problems that were not being talked about, as well as the mental effects of family deaths. Still, he didn't say a word because he didn't want to worry his dad or make things less calm around him. There was no one around to see it coming, which made the news of his quick death even worse. It was said that even Teddy, who is known for being calm and strong on screen, was caught off guard and had no idea that his son's situation had gotten so much worse so quickly. What did happen the night Antione died, though? Where was Teddy Long at that very moment? We'll talk about those last few hours in the next part. What took place at 2:37 a.m. Ted was shocked and frozen that morning. Nothing unusual happened that Tuesday night. Antione Long had just hung up the phone with his cousin and was said to be planning to go to bed early. Close family friends say that there were no outward signs that something was wrong. He had even written a short word of hope on his private Facebook page earlier that day. "Thankful for today. I know that God has my back no matter what happens tomorrow." Those words seem almost disturbing now that I look back on them. Neighbors said they heard soft church music coming from Antione's house around 10:15 p.m. This was something he often did to relax. A friend who had talked to him earlier that afternoon said he seemed a little more thoughtful than normal, but nothing too strange. He even said that he wanted to surprise his dad on Father's Day and share a special moment with him. Then it was 2:37 a.m. At that exact moment, rescuers were sent to Antione's house after someone called 911. The official report said that he had passed out in his bedroom and was found by a family member who could not speak. The information will stay secret. But people who know the Long family say that a serious heart attack is most likely what happened. When they got there, Antione was already dead. A family member who found him has decided not to be named because what they said is so sad. Their words describe the scene as both peaceful and sad. Antione was lying still with the same gospel playlist playing slowly in the background. There were no signs of struggle and no medical equipment was present. It looked like he had fallen asleep. After a few hours, when Teddy Long heard the news, everything stopped. The WWE Hall of Famer was allegedly getting ready to go to a fan convention that same week. People said he heard a wailing scream and then stunned quiet when he got the call, so he cancelled everything. No more posts from him on social media. He didn't answer texts. Teddy Long tried to stay out of the public eye for 48 hours. Someone who knows the family well said, "Teddy is always the strong one. The person who keeps everyone else together, speaks up and leads. He broke this time though. He was completely broken." And not just people in the wrestling world noticed. Some of Teddy's close friends, like wrestling stars Mark Henry and Ron Simmons, are said to have flown out right away to be with him. Some sources say that even Vince McMahon sent a personal word of sympathy, which is not something that anyone in WWE usually does. But here's the most touching part. Before Teddy Long said anything in public, one thing he asked for before he talked to the press or put on social media was to be left alone in Antione's room for an hour, with no phones, cameras, or other people around. What he did in that hour would be told to him by his family later. You'll know how much this dad loved his kids when you hear about the letter he wrote in tears and left behind in that room. Some people find their voice in prayer or silence when the pain is too great to express. Or in writing. Teddy Long couldn't talk about his sadness in public right away after losing his only son, Antione. Ted did one thing before the cameras, the tributes, and even the planning of the funeral started. He locked the door to Antione's room and sat alone with his son's life in his mind. That room didn't make a sound for more than an hour. People in the family waited outside in silence and prayed while holding hands. That was the room where Antione had spent his last moments. He still had gospel music CD, framed pictures of his kids, and an old SmackDown poster that he had signed for fun years ago. Now that room was filled with sadness and a father's broken heart. Ted finally came out. His face was wet with tears, and he had a folded piece of paper in his hand. He didn't say anything right away. He gave his brother the note and said, "Read this for me if I can't speak at the funeral." That bit of paper, a letter that was written quickly and was stained with tears, would be read out loud at Antione's funeral. No one in the building could keep an eye off of it when it happened. Teddy Long wrote, "To my son, my pride, my heart, Antione, you were the best thing I ever did. Before I was famous, got the Hall of Fame ring, and was in front of the cameras and lights, I was just your dad. That was the only title I ever needed. You were quiet. You didn't stand out. Son, you were stronger than me and most of the guys I know. You made me laugh, gave me peace, and gave me grandchildren. I also can't imagine living without hearing you say, 'Hey, Pops,' one more time. I have no idea why God took you away so quickly. I might never understand it, but I know one thing for sure. From now on, I'll carry your name with me every day, every step, and every ring I enter. I'm proud of you. You helped me feel better. You gave me a child. Good night, my boy. We'll play tag again in heaven. Teddy, your dad, for a long time." Teddy sat in the front seat with his hands on his head and his eyes closed while his brother read the letter out loud during the service. Friends and co-workers in wrestling, like Booker T, Ron Simmons, JBL, and even Rikishi, sat behind him and looked very touched. But what happened after the letter shocked everyone, even the family. Teddy got up, walked over to the coffin, and gave Antione one of his most valuable WWE Hall of Fame rings. He didn't say a word. Yes, the ring he was given for his lifetime of work in wrestling. He had always kept it hidden and only wore it on important events. That ring is now with his son, which was a powerful act of love. He said in a whisper to the coffin, "It's yours now. You deserved this more than I did." An online video of that moment, which was taken by a family friend and then shared, went viral. A lot of wrestling fans shared it, and many of them said, "I never knew Teddy Long as a dad. I will never forget it again." But Teddy wanted one thing more than anything else, even though he was very sad. That people would remember his son for how he lived, not how he died. That brings us to what took place after the funeral. A surprise moment that left WWE stars and fans speechless. It's been said that when someone dies, their story changes. For Antione Long, that change has grown into a strong force. In the weeks after his death, WWE legend Teddy Long was broken by sadness, but he found strength in remembering his son and decided to do something. Teddy broke his silence with a short, sad video shared to Instagram just 10 days after the funeral. He was sitting in front of Antione's framed picture with no music playing in the background or fancy lights. His voice was shaking and hoarse. "I've never been through anything so hard, but I know Antione wouldn't want me to be in pain. He would want me to keep going. He would want me to keep going. I'm starting something in his honor that will help other people, just like he did. The Antione Long Foundation was born right then. Don't think this is just another tribute party. This is a fully registered non-profit that is already working in Georgia and is spreading across the South. Its main goals are to mentor youth and help fathers, which are based on Antione's life and beliefs. Antione thought that having a guide could help people. He helped troubled teens as a volunteer, coached local sports teams, and always pushed for young guys to grow up with a sense of purpose. Now the foundation is setting up weekly mentoring programs in churches and schools to connect boys who don't have fathers with good male role models. A lot of them used to be wrestlers, athletes, or even WWE performers who have since quit, who knew Teddy and Antione in real life. Heart health education in black neighborhoods. Antione's exact cause of death has not been made public, but many people close to the family think that it was linked to his heart. Like a lot of other men, Teddy Long said he didn't fully understand the risks men face until it was too late. The foundation has started a program called Heart Strong, putting together free heart health events, CPR training, and blood pressure checks in black communities that don't get enough attention from bigger healthcare systems. Ted said, "If what happened to my son saves one life, then his death won't have been in vain." There are scholarships for kids whose dads are single, and Antione raised his own kids with grace, humility, and grit. As a way to honor that journey, the organization gives scholarships to kids whose dads are single parents, a group that support programs often forget about. Already, more than $25,000 has been made through donations, benefit shows, and wrestling fans giving money. Some wrestlers like Mick Foley, Bianca Belair, and Kofi Kingston have given money to the charity and shared the link on social media. Teddy Long has given so much to the business, even Triple H, who is now WWE head of development. It's now our turn to help. Antione, please rest in peace. We are just starting to remember you, but the most moving tribute came from Malik, a previous student of Antione's who is now a senior in high school and is 17 years old. Recently, Malik wore a t-shirt that said, "I am Antione's legacy," when he took the stage at an event. He told everyone, "I'm dropping out." Antione looked me in the eye and told me, "You're more than your mistakes. You'll be a man of honor one day. Because of him, I'm going to college now." There are dozens or even hundreds of stories just like that one. There are stories that show Antione Long is still helping people even after he has died. Through his dad's tears, Teddy is now making sure that his son's spirit goes on in the form of real change, not just memories. The impact is strong, but there's one more part of the story that makes it all come full circle, because no one saw what happened at the WWE tribute show when Teddy came back to the ring for the first time since Antione's death. It was impossible to forget what Triple H did, what the fans shouted, and what Teddy said in that ring. Fans didn't think Teddy Long would be back in WWE so soon, after weeks of silence, grief, and sadness. Officials from WWE reached out and offered to honor Antione Long with a special section. Teddy didn't think twice. Ted told them that my son would want me to show up if he was watching. He would want me to smile and give the fans what they loved. That's exactly what took place. In a special Friday night SmackDown show, the arena went dark in the middle of the show. The crowd stopped talking. Then, out of the blue, Teddy Long's famous theme music played, and the crowd went wild. There wasn't just a pop, there was a huge wave of love, respect and nostalgia that hit the building at once. He had fans stand up and chant his name. They chant his name. Some of them could be seen wiping tears from their eyes. They knew this wasn't just any return. It was for his son. Teddy walked out in a custom-made black and white suit with Antione's face sewn into the collar. A gold pin in the shape of a heart, the same shape used by the Antione Long Foundation, was on his chest. The crowd quieted down as he stood in the ring and took a deep breath. "I'd like to say hello to you, Playa," he said with a smile. The crowd let out a huge cheer. But Teddy quickly put out his hand to stop them. His tone changed. "Tonight, I'm not here to match people up. I'm not here to set up a tag team match. I'm here as a dad who lost his son." Ted Long spoke from the heart for the next 3 minutes, trying not to cry. Thanked everyone in the WWE universe for their support and said that Antione was the best part of me. He also announced the start of the Antione Long Foundation there on live TV. Then there was the event that made the news. He took Antione's old dog tag out of his pocket, which he had kept for years as a souvenir. It was on the turnbuckle before he said a word. He looked up at the ceiling and whispered, "This one's for you, sir." After the match, WWE turned on a huge screen that said, "In loving memory of Antione Long 1987-2025" many times. The crowd said, "Thank you, Antione." Reports say that backstage, wrestlers, judges, and even producers were crying as they watched the tribute monitor. Sources say that after the show, Roman Reigns, Bianca Belair, and even Randy Orton all gave Teddy a hug. The video went viral around the world on Twitter. A lot of people who had never heard of Antione before wrote comments. It didn't matter if you were popular or not. Antione was important. Teddy Long showed everyone what real love looks like. The sudden and sad death of Antione Long was a tragedy that has now been turned into a legacy of strength, kindness, and purpose. He showed us the soul behind the legend and the father behind the fame through his sadness. A real person with real pain, love, and loss is behind every wrestling star, he told us. This legacy will live on through the charity, the WWE tribute, and all the people whose lives were touched by Antione's story. We don't just say goodbye today, we also say thank you. Dear Antione, thank you for living your life with meaning. Teddy, thanks for showing us what a father's heart is like. Thank you, wrestling family, for showing us that we are not alone in our loss. Say something nice about the person in this story if it touched you in the comments. Say a few words of support, share your prayers, or talk about your favorite Teddy Long moment. To remember Antione, click like, sign up to get more powerful stories from wrestling, church, and other places. Spread this video so everyone will always remember Antione Long. Young King, rest in power. You're done with your ring walk.